The day I got my wife's diagnosis, she suddenly installed a camera in our master bedroom. That night, I heard her swear on the phone, "I'm not letting him touch me again. I've sent you all the account info, you can log in and check anytime." I decided to stay faithful for love. Seeing her face with such intensity and flush, I quietly shredded the diagnosis paper. Stay loyal for love. Yeah, let's do that for life. When the diagnosis of ALS hit me on Sophia's report, I almost lost my footing. 3 months ago, Sophia fell while hiking and got hurt. During her hospital stay, I asked for a full checkup just for peace of mind, and now this result. ALS can't be cured right now. You can only slow it down with meds, but ultimately it's irreversible. I saw sympathy in the doctor's eyes. Sophia is the typical strong woman. Pretty and bright yet not fragile. She exudes a graceful charm in every move. As a renowned divorce lawyer, she's smart, rational, and cool, a true legend among her peers. Privately, her life is simple and disciplined. She loves fitness and hiking, always valuing quality living. I can't imagine someone like her becoming unable to care for herself. Sitting by the street, watching people pass by, I slowly got up after a long time. I've made up my mind. As a couple, we should face everything together. No matter how she becomes, I'll be there with our son. When I got home, it was already dark. Our son John was quietly playing Go in his room. At 7, he's already a level 5 player and was once interviewed as a prodigy. "Have you eaten?" I asked gently, choking back my emotions. "Yeah, the nanny made ribs and lotus root soup today." He didn't look at me, focused on the game board. "Where's Mom?" "Out for a run." John is quiet by nature, and he speaks directly, just like us. 2 hours later, as I was unsure about telling Sophia the diagnosis, she returned. Wearing a sweatshirt and yoga pants, she looked lively and agile. I couldn't help but worry. "It's freezing out. Why are you wearing so little?" "The doctor said ALS patients can't get cold as it speeds up the disease." "It's just how I run," Sophia said flatly. Without a second thought, she took out a camera and set it up in front of the bed. I was puzzled. Why the camera? There have been thefts nearby. It's safer with a monitor. "Aren't you worried about privacy?" I asked hesitantly. Sophia is big on privacy. She glanced at me and chuckled lightly. "Privacy? Who's interested in yours?" I just let the mixed emotions in me be. Before sleeping, she lay far on the other side, facing away from me, as if worn out and pushing any conversation away. I sighed internally. She just finished a high-profile divorce case. She should take a break. Halfway through the night, unable to sleep, I found myself awake. The bed was empty. Sophia wasn't there. A cold wave of nerves hit me as I got up to look for her. On the balcony, she was on the phone in her thin nightgown against the wind. I grabbed a coat and walked over. "I'm not letting him touch me again." Her whisper made me pause. "I've sent the account and password. Log in and check anytime." I decided to stay loyal for love. Through the glass, I watched Sophia. This person, typically so elegant and proud, was brimming with raw emotion. The more I heard, the less familiar she seemed. Sophia, behind closed doors, has always been openly passionate. Composed and dignified by day, but with her guards down at night. Stress built up over the years. Known as the top female divorce lawyer, she became meticulous, precise, and guarded, but had her vulnerable side at night in whispers. We were grad school classmates, and she pursued me. Proud and bright, only around me did she blush shyly, which quickly drew me in. Later, I stayed at the university teaching psychology, while she went from a salaried lawyer to a partner, becoming a distinguished divorce lawyer making millions. Our personalities are similar. Calm, rational, practical, valuing quality life, chasing dreams. I've got a stable job, balancing family and career. She skyrocketed in her field. 8 years of marriage, being like mutual respect and thriving, with a spacious $1 million home and a genius son everybody talks about. A life to envy. But half a year ago, things shifted. She always ran at night, used to be out at 8, back by 9, then 30 minutes of family time. Never changed. But 6 months ago, she started leaving at 7, returning at 10, looking worn out, canceling family time. I asked why the runs were longer. She said calmly that when cases hit a block, being outside clears her mind. Mental work tires you more than physical sometimes. I got it. But gradually, she showed no interest in intimacy, stopped initiating, and cited exhaustion to reject me several times. I thought work stress was overwhelming and really worried. So, after her fall and hospitalization, I pushed for her to take a work break to recover and arranged a comprehensive checkup. Apparently, things weren't as I thought. Back in bed, in the dark, I watched the ceiling wide awake. Her recent words and expressions were alien, unreal. Despite today's blows, curiosity overshadowed my sadness and anger. I'm very curious. Who's the person on the other end, stirring Sophia's emotions that should have been calm long ago? I'm straightforward about things. The next night, I slipped a sleeping pill into her milk. In deep sleep, I unlocked her phone with her fingertip. Searching through the midnight call log, it took me a while to remember. I'd seen this number before. 3 months ago, after Sophia got injured hiking and ended up in the hospital, I asked the police for the contact info of the person who found her and called for help. I wanted to say thanks. The police gave me the number. My memory is great, especially with numbers. No way I messed it up. I dialed the number right in front of the officer, and a man answered. His voice was calm and kind. He said there was no need to meet or to thank him, as it's what any decent person would do. After I hung up, the officer chuckled and told me that some people might ask for a reward, but not him. I asked why. The officer recognized him during questioning. He was once in the news as the best husband. He had bad luck. At his wedding, his wife had a sudden illness and became paralyzed, leaving behind a 7-year-old son from her previous marriage. For 13 years, he cared for her and raised the kid on his own. His wife passed away last year, and now he ran a small stall at the park entrance selling lamb offal soup. A guy with character like his wouldn't accept a token of thanks. I was touched and nodded, thinking how lucky my wife was to meet him. Late at night, I sat with my phone for a long time before opening my photo album. Sophia either was confident in herself or trusted me completely because she hadn't hidden anything. My screen was filled with photos of the same man. Beneath a starry night sky, a small stand glowed warmly with steam rising. The man's features were sharp, his smile warm. He was either chopping ingredients, serving soup, or chatting with customers. Each photo had a cozy vibe, capturing life's simple pleasures. The photos spanned half a year, from short sleeves to thick winter clothing. On the third day, I went to the park and sat at the stall that sold lamb offal soup. I watched from afar as the man named Philip squatted by the flower bed, softly talking to a stray kitten. 2 women standing at his stall joked, "Philip only cares about these cats and dogs. He might as well not make money." Philip stood quickly, apologizing with a gentle tone. "Sorry, I felt bad for them and didn't notice you." Another woman waved her hand. "You're doing a kind deed. These stray animals know you're soft-hearted and come for food. It's beautiful to watch." After they left, I approached. "A bowl of lamb offal soup, please." Philip nodded and served it with a smile. Through the swirling steam, I studied him. He seemed about 35 or 36, tall and handsome. Dressed modestly but clean, his demeanor was warm and amiable. He radiated the reliable charm of a mature man. "Friend, it's your first time here. I'll add more lamb lung for you to try," he said. I sat and slowly tasted the soup, my mind wrestling with a question. Would someone like Philip, with his history and character, come between a married couple? Philip came to sit across from me. I was startled. He smiled warmly, his bright eyes on mine. "You're Sophia's husband, right?" I set my spoon down, meeting his gaze. "You recognize me?" He smiled. "I have a good memory. I saw you once on Sophia's phone and recognized you." I frowned, remembering. Sophia's old phone screen had a photo of me and our son. She'd switched it to a landscape photo about 6 months ago. He lowered his eyes, silent for a few seconds, then spoke calmly. "I know why you're here. You probably think there's something between Sophia and me, right?" I stayed silent. His eyes were sincere. "There's nothing. Sophia and I are just friends. She'd come here for soup after her run. Then, I noticed she seemed down, under a lot of stress, so I tried to cheer her up. Turned out she misunderstood. She started saying odd things. I mean, she has a family. Even if she didn't, why would someone like her fancy someone like me? I told her it was just a whim, but she wouldn't listen. She got more intense, calling me with wild stories. Honestly, if you hadn't come to talk, I would have reached out to you. Sophia must be under a lot of pressure to act so irrationally. As her husband, you should try to help her more. I looked at the slowly forming film of oil on my soup. So what you're saying is, it was all Sophia's doing, and you've been trying to turn her down? Philip sighed and nodded slowly. I looked up at him, asking, and the camera in my bedroom, for you to see us, was also her impulsive idea? Philip froze for a second, then said, I've scolded her for that. It's ridiculous. I continued, and the time you two went hiking and she fell? Was that also her forcing you against your will? Philip's pupils enlarged as he stood abruptly. Hiking? I don't know what you're talking about. I looked at him coldly. You said you have a good memory. I called you to thank you that day, and you forgot already? A customer called out, wanting soup to go. Philip pressed his lips together, moving stiffly to serve with a ladle. Bang! The pot overturned, spilling hot soup everywhere. Philip cried out from the splash. The customer dodged, cursed, and left grumbling. I surveyed the mess, ready to avoid any drama and leave. He pressed his lips tightly and suddenly called out, Sorry. I halted, frowning at him. Sorry, I did hide it from you. I was upset over my stepson's fight. Sophia suggested hiking to lift the mood, and I went along. When she fell, I called the emergency services. Didn't want to meet you. Afraid you'd get the wrong idea. He stood straight, jawline tight. Most of his clothes were soaked, steam rising off him. His palm had several big yellow blisters from hot soup. He looked really embarrassed and messy. Thomas, what are you doing? A sharp voice shouted from behind. Turning around, I saw Sophia, full of anger, sprinting over from a distance. For a moment, I was taken aback. It had been a long, long time since I'd seen such strong emotion on her face. She was wearing the burgundy suit she only wore for formal negotiations, which meant she rushed over from something important at work. And before, even when I called her after getting into a car accident, she insisted on finishing the negotiation before rushing to the hospital. Sophia furiously looked down at the ground, then at Philip. Biting her lip, she walked step by step over to Philip. She looked up quietly at the embarrassed yet upright man before her, gently wrapped his burned hand, and pulled him close under her coat. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Philip looked down, trying hard to smile for her. His lips moved, but he couldn't speak, though a hint of redness crept into his eyes. Sophia's eyes reddened too, and she softly said, Don't be sad. Philip, don't be sad. Remember what you said? Light boats have passed 1,000 mountains. Your troubles are over, completely over. Nothing's left that's worth a single tear from Philip. The whole time, Sophia didn't look at me once. I took out my phone and snapped a few pictures of them. The clicking was crisp in my ears. Philip suddenly stepped back, looking regretful and flustered like he'd just realized what he did. He apologized to me, trying to explain. I forgot, I didn't mean to, He couldn't finish because I just looked at him indifferently. You don't need to say anything. I got this. Sophia interrupted him firmly, then turned to me. In a flash, she was back to her calm, collected, top-notch lawyer self. Thomas, let's handle this later. We're right by your university. There are tons of students coming and going. Causing a scene here doesn't look good for you. Plus, she eyed the messy ground. Bullying a hard-working person. Sense any fun in that? I looked at her coldly, my voice steady. So you know lots of my students come through here, huh? Then as my wife, being publicly cozy with a man, is that thrilling for you? Sophia's gaze hardened, shock mingling with anger. After all, I'd always been gentle, forgiving, yielding around her. She'd never seen this side of me, neither had I. And even though now I have every right to smack both of you, I won't have anyone branding me as the bad guy. I turned and asked Philip, who was silently cleaning up. Philip, since you're not speaking up, is that what you're planning? He frowned, then slowly lifted his chin, saying loudly, Enough, quit arguing, it was me. I knocked it over myself. Okay? He looked at Sophia with frustration and heartache. Sophia, please take your husband and go. Don't mess with my business. I won't deal with you anymore. So please don't come back. Nearby guests began to gather. What happened here? What a mess. Philip, is someone bothering you? Who? Who dares mess with Philip? Count me in if they do. All kinds of unfriendly looks landed on me. Sophia gritted her teeth, grabbed my hand, and headed for the parking lot. I passed familiar students with basketballs, grinning as they greeted me. Hey, Thomas. I nodded back with a smile. Hey there. In the parking lot, I didn't say another word to her. Calmly walked to my car. Trees flew by as I drove down the highway, emotion after emotion washing over me. I gave myself half an hour. Anger, pain, acceptance, calmness. Then I turned the wheel and headed to the bank. Sophia and I have a joint account. All our salaries, bonuses, and earnings go there. When we first opened it, she joked, You always say I'm not expressive, huh? This account is in your hands. I'll just keep the money flowing in. Is that expressive enough for you? I may work at the university, but over the years I published some psychology books in my spare time. The royalties have been substantial. The account's balance had exceeded 18 million. The bank clerk looked puzzled and told me, The account's frozen because of a bail default. You didn't know? I felt a chill spread through, asking slowly, When did this happen? 2 months ago. 2 months ago. That was when Sophia just got out of the hospital. I was exhausted from taking care of her, with a high fever for a week. But while I was boiling over, she was making moves to secure assets for a divorce. I felt it was both ironic and comical. On my way here, I regretted acting too hastily, not securing an exit strategy before tipping my hand. Turns out she had been playing me all along. Once a woman's heart moves on, she's ruthless. By the time I got home, the sky was pitch black. Sophia was in her casual clothes, sitting on the couch drinking tea as if nothing was wrong. She gave me a glance. I sent John to my mom's. Let's lay it all out. I sat, silently watching her. She took a sip, slowly starting. I planned to do this in a while. I felt a bit reluctant, wanted you and him to enjoy a little bit more of happy family time. But since you chose to create a scene today, I just have to go along with it. Thomas, I've fallen for someone else. It's time for a divorce. I was so calm. I even offered her a slight smile. Sophia, can you tell me what is it about him you love? Enough to betray 10 years of love, to abandon me and our child? She frowned slightly. If you insist on knowing, she paused. Then she spoke slowly, her tone calm and sincere. Over the past few years, because of work, I've seen way too much deceit in marriages. I pretty much lost my ability to see love and marriage clearly. But then I met him. I realized there are still men like him out there. Just out of love and responsibility, he gave up the best years of his life without hesitation. He brought life into my dull, suffocating existence. You ask what I love about him? I've asked myself that a million times too. Because he's resilient. He's responsible and dependable. Life gave him hardships, yet he stands tall despite the muck. And every cold night, he hands me a hot bowl of soup. As she finished, her face was alive with emotions, as if she moved even herself. The room fell silent. After a while, I clicked my tongue. So your aunt's soup wasn't hot? Had to go outside for that tempting taste? Sophia's expression instantly turned cold. Thomas, you're a self-serving egoist. You can't understand this kind of love. I nodded. Fair enough. Divorce it is, leave empty-handed. A look of mockery flickered on her face. First, there's no legal thing about leaving empty-handed. Second, I haven't done anything with Philip. I'm not even at fault here. I stared at her, speechless for a while. Has someone really changed this much? So ruthless, as if a new soul suddenly possessed them. Sophia seemed to know what I was thinking and scoffed. No need to act like this. No feelings left, so divorce is a natural next step. After I fell and waited for rescue in the mountains, everything became clear. Life's too short to tiptoe around and not love. Even if I'm blamed and scorned, I need to truly live for once. Thomas, don't forget what I do for a living. I've got plenty of tricks up my sleeve. It's just a matter of whether I want to use them against you. I chuckled lowly. Haven't used them on me already? The sneaky move to freeze the bank accounts. Doesn't that desecrate the purity of your great love? Sophia glanced at me and said flatly, looks like you've checked the accounts. It's just routine to avoid complications during the divorce. I've drafted the divorce agreement. I get the money and kid. You get the house, the remaining loan is your problem. Considering my contribution to the family finances, this is more than fair. Bang! I slammed a vase onto the floor near her feet. Shards flew and cut her forehead. She hurriedly covered her forehead. Alarmed. Blood flowed through her fingers. You're crazy. She was both shocked and angry, staring at the dripping blood. She swiftly grabbed the car keys and dashed out without a backward glance. I slowly sat down, picked up the teapot and poured myself a cup of tea. In just 3 days, my life turned upside down. Leaving the bank, I realized Sophia finally used those well-practiced tricks on me. Guess I'm more unlucky than others. Not only do I face emotional betrayal, but my wife is a pro-divorce lawyer. Over the years, she's become cold and calculated, driven by self-interest. If I get lost in useless pain and sadness, I'll end up with nothing. I need to deal with things her way. Before heading home, I picked up John from my mother-in-law's place and took him to stay with a familiar Go teacher. Silently, I drank tea, cup after cup. Outside, at some point, a bright moon silently hung in the sky. After a while, I picked up the diagnosis report. As I focused, my phone buzzed. Sophia sent me a photo. In the picture, her forehead was bandaged. She lay with her eyes closed on a man's lap. Their hands were tightly intertwined. A line of text below read, "Since you don't appreciate her, I feel no guilt. You pushed me to finally say yes to her." It's a notification and a blatant provocation. Those who survive life's hardest challenges have seen all kinds of ugliness. How could they be just a clean, tall stalk in the mud? He deliberately knocked over the hot pot this afternoon, stopped me before I left, apologized, and called Sophia over all planned. Sophia sees benefits clearly but misses human nature. I whispered, as I fed the diagnosis report into the shredder. The buzzing noise settled my heart. Yes, I'm facing it. A wonderful husband, a top-notch divorce attorney, but I'm determined to fight. A divorce is certain. I'll keep the kid and the money, and make sure this pair of star-crossed lovers is tied together for life. There is no smooth sailing away. Mountains await and higher ones still. I turned down Sophia's divorce terms. As a professional divorce lawyer, she doesn't want her own divorce to go to court. If it does, it shows she failed to negotiate, hurting her professional image. I'm not in a rush. Okay, a little, but not as much as they are. To Sophia, Philip is great. But if he makes any move before a formal relationship, he'd lose face. So he must play hard to get and act morally when needed. Sophia, on the other hand, can't do anything that makes her seem at fault during critical divorce times. So both of them have to hold back. At most, she can only grab a bowl of lamb soup from Philip's place during her nightly runs. Lamb soup. I held the steaming cup, watching the soft falling snow outside. The doctor told me ALS patients should keep warm and avoid high-purine foods, which accelerate the disease. High-purine foods include animal organs. After a week of staying at work, Sophia returned. When she walked in, I was tidying up. With a band-aid on her forehead, she said nothing, went to the bedroom, and soon came out with a packed suitcase. She gave me a sidelong glance and spoke coldly. I was planning to leave the house to you, but you've drained our relationship dry with your actions. So now we'll just follow the law. The bank accounts are frozen, and our main joint asset is this house. So, do you want to sell the house and split the money, or just give me the equivalent in cash? I tossed a photo album into a cardboard box and chuckled. What? Philip got his eyes on this house now? Sophia sneered. Do you think everyone's as money-focused as you? Philip hasn't mentioned a word about money to me, so don't insult him. She noticed something, frowned, and picked up the album from the box. What are you doing? Throwing out the trash. You. Her face showed anger but quickly froze. She knew the album well. It contained all the photos of us from college, from when she secretly took pictures of me, to when we first met and then fell in love. I used to keep it in a safe, saying it was for us to look at when we got old. Without a word, I expressionlessly took the album from her hand and tossed it aside. There was a sudden thud in the quiet room. Not leaving yet? Don't you have a run scheduled? I reminded her. She stood there looking grim, silent for a moment, then turned decisively, tossing back a cold comment. John, hiding won't work. He's still my son, and being with me will ensure his future. I'll never give up on him. With that, she slammed the door and left. Half an hour later, I got up, dusted my hands, and took a deep breath. Everything related to her was packed and ready for the trash. Those once precious memories of youth. That's all they were. Just as I was reflecting on this, my phone rang. A laid-back young man's voice came through. I'm Mike. Were you looking for me? I looked at the guy sitting in front of me, blowing bubbles with his gum. Purple hair, lip ring, indifferent eyes, trying to be all cool and tough. But if you looked closer, he was wearing a thin cotton coat in the snow, sleeves worn thin, zipper crudely sewn with black thread. Looked like his handiwork. I got straight to the point. You're Mike, Philip's stepson? He looked at me but didn't speak. I pulled out some cash and handed it over. My wife's leaving me for him. I need your help. Deal. He grabbed the money fast. I was surprised at his quick agreement. You're not even asking, and you believe me just like that? What's not to believe? He said, still chewing, not caring. After all, he's the one who raised you. Mike spat the gum in an arc, with a hint of ridicule in his eyes. It's less about him caring for me and my mom and more about his enjoyment of that image in public. I sized him up again and pulled out more money. He grabbed it briskly and went on. I started piano lessons at 4, and the fees my mom saved went straight to the Red Cross, all for some interview where he claimed other kids couldn't even eat and we weren't in as much need. Know how my mom died? Bed sores, infected. Sure, he took care of her, but just enough to keep up appearances. You say your wife's infatuated with him. Doesn't surprise me. He always attracts a fool or two. But someone like you? That's new. When Mike left, clutching the cash, he asked, so I just need to find a way to get him to push for your wife's divorce. That simple? I nodded. As simple as that. Deal. Just a divorce won't cut it, it has to be a good one. I had to tackle it from both ends. The next day, in light snow, I went back to Philip's lamb soup shop. Philip was kneeling in the snow, tying an old man's shoelaces with a cane beside him. The old folks were giving him thumbs up. A daughter would be blessed to marry a man like you. Philip stood up, smiling warmly. Who'd even consider someone like me? Our eyes met and he tensed a bit. Sophia said if you dared to come after me, she'd sue you. I looked down, and when I looked back up, my face was twisted with anger, seething. Philip, what did you mean by the message you sent me? Are you guys together? Aren't you afraid I'll expose you and ruin your reputation? Philip squinted at me for a bit, then just sighed and smiled. I used to think college professors were untouchable, but now I've realized they're just like anyone on the street. He looked at me with a mixture of pity and understanding. How you see the world is defined by your heart. I did agree to what she asked. After all, when a woman offers you her whole heart, it's moving. Sophia's incredible, dealing with so much and getting nothing from home. You really don't know what you have, but I'm not what you think. Even if I agreed, I'd never take advantage of her while she's married. I am who I am. If she comes, I'll be here. If she doesn't come, I'll still be here. That's all. I shouted, don't think I don't know what you're after. You just want her money. Why else would she be fighting for our assets before divorcing me? He laughed, not bothering to argue with me. Everyone knows money is nothing to me. I've had rich women chasing me for 13 years. I'm only moved by sincerity. I sneered, sarcastically. Really? If she loves you so much, why doesn't she divorce me and marry you right now? Shows she values money more than you. Philip's face darkened. Her sincerity is clear to me. I laughed with satisfaction. Sincerity? Then have her leave without a cent. If she really loves you, she'll divorce without any money. Otherwise, it's just an excuse. A charade. Philip's face twitched, pressed his lips tight, watching me. What if she does? I arrogantly declared. I'll personally deliver a gift at your wedding, so everyone knows even I, the ex-husband, am moved by your love. Philip, your image will be even more dazzling and grand then. As I spoke spiritedly, Philip's eyes started to light up. I knew it. His endorphins and dopamine were getting ready to explode. The city had a snowstorm for a few days, and traffic was a mess. Philip had to close his shop temporarily. But for two people so in love, no snowstorm could possibly keep them apart. Sophia would brave the cold and snow for half an hour after work every day, claiming she just needed to have lamb stew at Philip's place. Their meetings, made more challenging by the weather and distance, became more thrilling and heart-stirring. Sophia sat at the table while Philip busied himself just for her. They shared knowing smiles, a cozy, heartwarming scene. I saw this all from the camera. A few days ago, Mike sent me a receipt. He wanted reimbursement. I asked for what? He impatiently said, I can't be bothered to tell their story. I just bought a camera. You can watch yourself. It's my dad's place. I can do what I want. I paused for a second and agreed. Sophia, usually so sharp, seems to lose her edge around Philip, like fire in a dry field. Know your enemy and keep the upper hand. And anyway, it's just using their own tactics against them. One day, when they were having a good time, one focusing on their soup, one idly watching, Mike suddenly burst in. He frowned and suddenly said, So you're the woman everyone's talking about. Their smiles froze. Philip quickly explained, and Sophia insisted she was just there for the soup. Mike scoffed. Coming all the way out here every day in this cold for soup? Can't live without it. Huh? I thought the neighbors were making stuff up. Why so worked up about it? If you guys are together, just admit it. It's a guy and girl thing. He eyed Sophia suspiciously. Are you running a scam? Sophia's face darkened. I'm a lawyer. So, are you married? Sophia went pale. I'm just here for the soup. Mike started making a scene. Oh, I see, having an affair. Already have a husband. And yet you're still playing around. He moved to shove her out the door, but Philip intervened, trying to calm him. The door stayed open, and with everyone cooped up from the snow, plenty of neighbors gathered to watch. People started chiming in. Hey Philip, don't get taken for a fool. Scammers these days look just like normal people. Remember that woman a few years ago? You thought she was just a good Samaritan, until her husband came and raised hell. Don't fall for it again. Philip chuckled and clarified she was really just a visitor, and Mike had misunderstood. After that, Sophia worried about her reputation, stopped visiting every day, and even when she did, it was sneaky. Their longing grew. Each meeting was intense. A single glance would hold a moment forever. I sent Sophia a version of the divorce papers. Her response was 3 words. No way. One day on the camera, Philip told Sophia he was leaving the city. Sophia was shocked and asked why. Philip forced a smile. Mike's older now, and this house was left for him by his mom. It's not right for me to stay. I don't have family here, so I'll go back home. My aunts set me up with a widow. She's in her 40s. But that's all I can hope for. No, someone like that doesn't deserve you. Sophia stubbornly bit her lip. You can't marry anyone else. You need to marry me. Philip tousled her hair and sighed softly. You have a husband. Philip won't break up a family. Sophia, let's leave it as an if only. Sophia pressed her face to his hand and softly insisted. Philip, wait for me. I will get the divorce. You don't understand. I'm just holding out for a better settlement. Philip closed his eyes in pain, then suddenly stood and exclaimed, Aren't you a divorce lawyer? Why can't you get a divorce? You claim to make millions a year. Why fight over money? I don't care for it. I just want true love. Is money really more important to you? If it is, then leave. You're not worth my true feelings. Sophia texted me. The house is yours. I'll take the money and our son. I replied, I want both. Don't overreach. Then we'll see who holds out longer. Sophia showed up on camera one night. Philip had just finished a shower, hair wet, bare-chested in the warmth. He was all firm muscles and beads of water. Without saying a word to Sophia, he kept serving her soup and rice. Sophia blushed badly, her eyes glued to him. She even tried to hold his hand, but he gently brushed her off. Sophia, this is the last time I'll cook for you. Next month, I'm going back home to meet someone. You don't need to come anymore. That night, Sophia sat silently in the living room for a long time. The house and money are yours. I'll take our son. I paused. Let John choose who he wants to stay with. All right, you said it, no take-backs. Sophia was sure about that. I gazed out at the clear sky after the snow, feeling a slight tug in my heart. I wasn't confident about John. He was a prodigy at 3, learning chess at 5, winning titles at 7. Different from other kids, never throwing tantrums even though I took care of him. He wasn't especially attached to me. I teach psychology, so I know about this case. Such gifted kids, while having advanced mental capabilities, often lag in emotional needs and expression. To him, Sophia, the nanny, none of us were that different. I left John with a chess teacher. Each visit, he was distant, wholly absorbed in the game. On the day John had a competition, I dropped him off and then headed to school. By the time I got back, he had already beaten his opponent quickly and was giving an interview. I spotted Sophia and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was holding John's hand, grinning ear to ear. Sophia was chatting away to the camera. She'd gained fame from a celebrity divorce case when her client realized she was the mom of a prodigy and decided to trust her. She's been handling John's interviews ever since, which brought her loads of clients. After the interview, Sophia whispered something to my mother-in-law before walking toward me. Thomas, for the sake of our years together, I've given up on the money and the house. Of course, this money means a lot to you, but it's just a year's pay for me. John is better off with me than with you. I clenched my teeth and smiled. Has John chosen you? She smirked, slightly moving aside to reveal John getting into the car with his grandma. What do you think? I froze, my nails almost digging into my palms. Suddenly, the car door opened, and John got out with his backpack. His grandma was frantically calling after him. He walked steadily towards me like a little adult and said, I just got my backpack from Mom's car. Dad, you're late. Holding back my excitement, I replied slowly, Yeah. Sorry, I didn't expect you'd win so fast. Sophia looked furious and hissed, John, go with Mom. I've got a national coach lined up for you. John's face was calm. But aren't you divorcing Dad? So I can't go with you and Grandma. He took my hand. Let's go, Dad. I need to get back quickly. I have another competition tomorrow. I lifted my head slightly. All right, son. Sophia stood there, her face looking awful. In the car, I tried to suppress my shock and excitement as I asked, John, do you really understand what it means that your mom and I are getting a divorce? John, sitting in the back seat, replied in a steady, yet childish voice, Yeah, I do. Are you upset? I asked. He answered, My teacher says never to be sad about the empty spaces lost on the board. My eyes suddenly welled up with tears. I always thought he didn't understand love or feelings. I was wrong. Just because he didn't express them didn't mean he didn't understand. For a skilled player, he always focused his energy on the present. When the environment worked for him, he didn't get too involved. But once it changed, he could judge and decide instantly. My son John is a natural. When Philip once again appeared shirtless in front of Sophia, she finally couldn't control herself. She was already pretty open about that stuff, and in the humid, suggestive atmosphere, she started taking off her clothes one by one. Then she moved over to Philip, slowly slipping her hand into his waistband. I turned off the camera, but Mike wouldn't let it go, messaging me. Your wife's been in that room for a whole day and night. Want me to help catch them? No need. Aren't you mad? Do you really want these lovebirds to fly off together? You don't get it. They need to be together for me to get my revenge. 2 days later, Sophia and I went to the civil office to finalize our divorce. The house, money, and John stayed with me. Sophia walked away with nothing, yet she looked refreshed. Well, after holding out for months, getting some action probably felt like rain after a drought. As we walked out of the civil office, she shot me a cold glance. Thomas, think you've won? Little do you know, my firm is bringing in new partners next year, doubling my shares. The money you fought for doesn't even match a year's pay. As for John, he's small and doesn't understand now. Once he's older, he'll know who's really helping him. Can you hold on to him then? With her last words, she suddenly stumbled and fell. She awkwardly got back up, checking her shoes. I watched silently and smiled. Congratulations, if you live to enjoy it. She frowned, ready to reply, but I turned and walked away. Not long after, Mike barged in with a few friends while the pair were, let's say, otherwise occupied. He snapped photos and threatened a fight. Sophia had to use her last $300,000 to buy their silence. Philip insisted they get married immediately with a big celebration, or those thugs might start trouble. Sophia mortgaged shares of her firm, borrowing $5 million. Part of that was a 20% down payment on a house, the rest for a grand wedding. Before it, Philip messaged me smugly. Does your offer still stand? I replied, yes. On their wedding day, a news article exploded online. Title: Famous divorce lawyer gives up everything for love. The comments poured in, wow, this is touching. For love. She gave up her life's work. Wasn't this the ideal husband? He finally overcame troubles and found love. Yeah, she's got morals. Divorced first before finding new love. Can't complain about that. But the ex-wife might feel bitter. Bitter? I'm jealous. Got the house and money. Leaving behind someone who doesn't love you. Isn't that freeing? Either way, a skilled lawyer giving up her expertise for love, that's gotta be love. That day, at the peak of the wedding, Philip, full of pride, passionately declared, with sails set, we've overcome. The guests cheered, truly wishing the newlyweds well, including me. Half a year later, while driving John to chess lessons, I got stuck in traffic outside a hospital. I saw Sophia and Philip. They sat by the roadside flower beds, holding a report, both looking dazed. Philip suddenly stood up and roared. Same result. No mistake. Why's my luck so rotten? He shouted and then ran off, looking lost and broken. Sophia didn't even look up. She stayed still, staring at her feet. Before long, Mike suddenly appeared. He walked quickly over, grabbed Sophia by the collar, and gave her a hard shove. She fell to the ground with no strength to fight back. Angry, Mike yelled, "You promised 20 grand a month. You're 2 months behind. You want to see those photos and videos go viral?" Sophia climbed back up, wiped the blood from her mouth, and said softly, "I'm out of money. Won't pay anymore. Do whatever you want." Mike snapped back, "Out of money? Aren't you the boss? Don't you get dividends? Who are you trying to fool?" Sophia looked up, quietly gazing at the sky. "I'm sick, LS." As soon as my partner heard, he pulled out. My shares barely covered the $5 million loan. I can't work now. No income. Mike was in disbelief. "You're really broke?" Sophia gave a sarcastic laugh. "If I weren't sick, that cash would be nothing." But her words trailed off as tears streamed down her face. Suddenly, the car window rolled down. I turned and saw John looking out, calling, "Mom." Seeing us, Sophia's body shook. Then she dropped her head and sobbed, "John, Thomas, I'm sick. I miss you guys so much." "Mom, your collar," John said. Sophia, face wet with tears, looked confused. "What? There's some dog poop," John replied and rolled the window back up. Outside, Sophia's face was filled with despair and helplessness. For a long while, I purposely avoided any more updates about Sophia and Philip. Once fates will starts turning, the end is already set. Then one day, John and I had just finished trying out a new dish from the housekeeper. We were sitting in the living room having a chat. I changed how I taught John. Besides teaching him Go, I wanted him to experience life more. He thought and then asked me, "Dad, Do you feel lonely? I almost laughed but then nodded slowly. Yeah, I wish you'd spend more time with me. He thought for a moment and agreed. After that, we stopped going straight to our rooms after dinner. Instead, we talked and watched some TV together. On the news, Philip's face appeared, and I froze. He was a completely different person. His face was worn, eyes tired, cheekbones sharp, lips thin and harsh. He complained to the reporter. I have a tough life, first a paralyzed wife and now this one with ALS. I hope society can help me more. The camera switched to focus on a bed in a simple room. A woman lay there, staring at the ceiling. It was Sophia, so skinny she was almost unrecognizable. The reporter looked at the camera, full of emotion. Regardless, Philip's spirit is admirable. He married his wife for love. She gave up everything for him. He didn't abandon her despite the hardship. John stared at the TV. Dad, I want to see Mom. I agreed. 2 days later, when we found the TV address, I was taken aback. It was a rundown building, almost a hazard, worse than Philip's old place. Holding John's hand, we went up to the second floor. The door was wide open, but no one was around. The furniture was shabby, the place messy with junk everywhere. Just as I started doubting if we had the right place, a murmur came from a bed in the corner. Sophia's eyes were wide, staring straight at us. Holding John's hand, we walked over. Her eyes reddened, tears flowed down, and she made garbled sounds. I stood there watching her. Her eyes were sunken, her body just skin and bones. The lively, bright eyes she once had were now dull and cloudy. Her hair was choppy, as if someone had carelessly cut it. Her clothes were damp, with bits of vegetables and rice stuck on them. I couldn't believe this was the same Sophia who'd once been almost obsessive about her appearance. She looked at me without blinking. Her eyes filled with pain, sadness, regret, and despair. I steadied myself and said, John wanted to see you, so I brought him. John took a bundle of money from his backpack. Mom, this is my New Year money. I want to give it to you, he said seriously. What good will it do?